Yeah, what's up?
Since our last interview 1 year ago, RBXFlip has grown substantially. How big has this year been for RBXFlip, and what do you think caused it?
So in the year 2021 alone, Flip has made about 10 times the revenue it did the previous year, 2020. I would honestly attribute a lot of it to the pandemic because like 2019, the site used to be extremely dead. We had like 2 to 4 people online. And then the pandemic hit, and I guess everyone's just inside and gambling and wanted something to do. So it kind of sparked it all.
In last year's interview, you mentioned that you don't gamble on your own site. Is that still true? Like, surely you've jumped in a few games with people on AltCap before.
Yeah, I've jumped in a few games, like 2 to 3K when I'm in voice call. I would say a few, as in less than a handful, less than five. Maybe on stream, I've done a couple as well, just for jokes. But typically, what I do is like, let's say I post a game for 20K rock paper scissors. I'll be screen sharing while I do it, so it's technically a giveaway because I just let people see what I choose, and that's kind of what I do. It's nothing serious, to put it that way.
In October, you went to the RDC. Firstly, how did you get in?
So yeah, I went to RDC with my friend who's like a pretty big dev, I guess. And I just went underneath him as a chaperone, and that's how I got in. I guess if you're under 18, you could have a chaperone even though he was over 18, and it just somehow worked out.
Did Roblox find out in the end about you getting in?
Not really, not that I'm aware of. I didn't hear anything, so I guess not.
Don't you think it's risky to be pissing off Roblox? Earlier in the year, RBX.Place was given a lawsuit. Doesn't it scare you that if you continue to play around with them, they'll sue you as well?
I view it as playing around, to be honest. I mean, I've been in the dev scene for Roblox. It predates my gambling business, I guess you could call it, for many years. I made many games. So it was kind of interesting to go to, and I would have been invited on my original account, Strat, had it not gotten terminated. So I don't think I'm really playing with them. I think I took the conference pretty serious and professional, and I was pretty chill about all of it there.
Did you ask them any questions and get engaged? Like, were you quite open there, or did you just sort of lay low?
For the most part, I laid low. For example, someone I was in the elevator with, he was like, "Oh, what do you do?" This was at the hotel outside the conference. And I was like, "Oh, I just run a gambling site." And he was like, "Oh, Flip." So like people asked around and kind of knew, but they didn't really know it was me,
Have you been contacted since we last spoke? Has anyone working for Bloxxers made any attempt to take Flip down?
No contacts, but they have taken Flip down 2 or 3 times. They sent a DMCA request to Amazon Web Services where we used to host, and our host after that as well. So that's why we added on the footer of the site. You can see it says Roblox and its various marks and logos or trademarks of Roblox, blah, blah, blah. That was directly to prevent against the DMCA. And that's why you see a lot of sites like that. I believe Rolamont has it. A place at one point might have had that as well. Just kind of a little blanket thing to protect against general DMCA shit. So far, it seems fine. But again, we're also at a much more offshore host now. Someone who doesn't really care about DMCA necessarily. So it's just a little precautionary measure. I'm not sure if it works or not.
This year has been a huge year for you in terms of development. You recently announced your own NFT project called Crypto Limbs. Is that project still going ahead?
At the moment, I would say it's safe to say we've put it on a brief pause just because other things have taken priority. And there's also another, I wouldn't even call it competing because we're still pretty early in on dev, but there's another NFT project. I think it's called Bloxxers or something. So I'm kind of going to eye that from afar and see how it goes for them, and if I can learn anything from how they launch. And, maybe they make a big fuck up or something, and then I can see what to improve on. Or maybe they're successful and I just continue with my other shit,
A separate NFT project called Bloxxers was announced a few weeks ago. Does that change your vision or your plan for Crypto Limbs?
We were already going to put the project on a pause. But if anything, it just kind of helps me gauge and see what the community thinks about it. If they're a success, good for them. But if they're not, that will give me an opportunity to learn from whatever they did wrong and try and piggyback off that.
Why do you keep making all these different side projects? Are you just interested in sort of dominating on different parts of the market, or is it just more of a hobby for you?
Well, Flip requires such little work and maintenance from me as the owner because we have a team of devs that works on the active updates. We have bot creators that do all that. We have a small support team that does that stuff. So like my actual work is probably only a few hours a week. And because of that, I have a lot of free time. And I just want something to occupy my time and kind of out of my own drive for it,
You've also been hinting at Heat.gg for over a year now. What can you tell us about this project?
So Heat.gg is actually going to be a separate gambling site. I can't give too many details about that because it's a unique game mode that we're working on. Like no other Bitcoin gambling site has done it. And also to go off of that, it is a Bitcoin gambling site and it's not Roblox related at all. So it's its own like separate thing.
Do you think that RBXFlip success is to do with you being first to the market? Do you believe that you can still create a separate marketplace and still be able to overtake sites such as Adurite?
So RBXFlip success, I wouldn't necessarily say is being first to the market, because there were actually, I'd say 2 or 3 smaller gambling sites outside of Flip that predate us as well, and those weren't a huge success. So I think where Flip mainly did it was just staying honest with it, like not bullshitting the users, just being transparent and just keeping it up for a long enough time. Like these other sites were up for no longer than a month, and maybe they exit scam whatever items, and Flip's just been around for ages now and have like what, $100 million worth of stuff bet and more. I can't even keep track at this point. But adding on to that, I would mainly say our success wasn't like just the first mover's advantage, but also just being transparent and honest for the most part.
If you were to restart RBXFlip all over again, what would you change? What have you learned during your journey as founder that you'd use to improve if you were to try again?
Honestly, I would say I wouldn't be as stagnant as I was from the start. So for a while, I just kept the first running version of FlipUp back when it was peer-to-peer and we didn't even have any bots. It was super buggy and stuff, so it wasn't until I brought PD onto the team, or he offered his skills in marketing and all that, that we really like started pushing the site to new areas. And we added jackpot. RPS was another one we added. This isn't all directly to PD, but he's kind of helped motivate us to do more game modes and push us in that way. Before, I was just kind of happy with how the site was and was pretty stagnant with development of it and all that.
For the viewers who don't know, can you briefly explain who PD is and what his role is at RBXFlip?
Yeah, so you could probably give PD many titles, because he initially came on as just a shareholder. So I sold him X amount of RBXFlip, or the company that owns RBXFlip. And then he got, lifetime ownership of whatever he paid for. He's actually been a huge part of the team, and he's helped with, marketing, just pushing us. He's helped a lot with support and bots. So PD's usefulness has definitely outgrown any money that he initially spent to buy those shares of the site or whatever. So he's been a great addition to the team for sure.
If you don't mind sharing, does PD make a percentage? I presume he's bought shares. Does he make his percentage back in profit or revenue?
You could say he's made probably over 100 times over what he initially paid. I can't say, what he paid and how much, but PD is definitely eating well.
Is Lai in a similar position, as in, did he buy shares at the start, or did you just give them to him?
No, so I initially paid Lai like a static payment up front to do the site for me and develop it. But then as time went on, I wanted to motivate him, and we were much smaller at the time. So I gave Lai a percent as well, long term, so he can always have this income coming in. And he's directly motivated by this site's success. So if it does good and he pushes a good update and does all that, the site does better and his revenue increases.
Do you have any sort of control over PD? Has he signed anything to say that he won't work on competing projects, for example?
No, so like I said, PD initially being added onto the team was just a straight up purchase of the site's revenue. So like he just bought a percent ownership in the company or whatever. I didn't make him sign any NDA or non-competing agreements, whatever they're called, I think out of his own interest, he wouldn't work on like some direct competition. I know his site, Adurite, the marketplace they recently launched, kind of competes with Flip's market, but it's not a big deal at all, because we're 2 different point of sales, I guess you could say, and his is more focused on Stripe, Bitcoin, and all that. And Flip's a little bit different.
As I'm sure you're aware, PD is an owner of Adurite, and he's also an owner of Bloxxers. Both of those sites are competing. Bloxxers is competing with CryptoLimbs, and the Adurite Marketplace is somewhat a competitor to RBXFlip Marketplace. Wouldn't an RBXFlip Marketplace conflict with PD's role in Adurite? Obviously, you've been developing your own marketplace for a while now. Did you disagree with PD's choice to work on Adurite? And if so, how did you resolve it?
We didn't disagree at all. I mean, Adurite was kind of a thing that's bound to happen. Place needed a competitor. RBLX Shopping, no offense to them, is kind of dead from what I've seen, and no one uses it. So I feel like it was already going to happen regardless. I have no bad blood with PD. And him already owning, a percent of Flip, if the marketplace on Flip does good, then that's just more money for him. So I don't think he has a problem with it either. And we've talked about it, of course, and everyone seems neutral with it, and we're all good.
In November, you leaked what appeared to be a huge RBXFlip update involving cases. What are you able to tell us about this?
Yeah, this kind of goes into our big update coming out. We're adding a few game modes and a bunch of shit, including the market. Cases themselves will be using credits on site, and you'll be able to open each case just how they are normally, and you'll get a random item with displayed odds on it. That's all I can say, really. I mean, it's pretty straight up. You just open a case and hope you get lucky, I guess.
Does this mean RBXFlip is moving more away from player versus player? If you have a case opener, then surely that's against the house.
Yeah, I would say we are definitely trying to direct away from player versus player, just because player versus player involves bots and a lot of trades, which Roblox is actively using algorithms to kind of detect and stuff. So it's a cat and mouse game with us and Roblox with their moderation right now, and getting away from that as soon as possible and just kind of expanding to other deposit methods or other ways people can gamble their limiteds is our main goal. So with cases or roulette or any other stuff we're adding, you deposit your limiteds for those game modes that are player versus house, and you get credits in return for them. So in that case, we need no bots, since we're doing a peer-to-peer deposit and withdrawal system. So when you deposit your limited, it's actually listed on the sell page, like the marketplace, and then a user directly withdraws it with their credits from you. And those credits can also be withdrawn with Bitcoin directly at a set rate.
How will you get the items for the case opener? I presume it's all technically free for you, as you'd get all of the items, or at least a majority of them, from fees from regular flips.
Yeah, so cases are credits only, so you'll be shown the item that you want or whatever, but you're actually going to be credited to your balance, however much it says it's worth. So like if you win an EMP or whatever and it says 10,000 credits, then that's going to go to your balance and you're not actually going to get an EMP. That's just because the logistics of like handling such a large inventory, even if we do have, whatever millions in fees daily, it's just still not possible with cases. And we want to give users cool items and shit. So if we took from fees only, at best, maybe you're going to have like an SSHF or like some random shit like that. But if we do cases and make it credits and house-based, it allows much more possibilities of items and combinations and just, back-to-back gambling instead of having to do all the trades and stuff. And then our bots having to hold the inventory for what can be opened from the cases and get deleted. It's so much overhang risk for a little reward if we actually had the items in stock versus just crediting to your balance.
When do you think we'll be seeing this update?
It's hard to say. I've been saying 1 to 2 weeks for the past 2 weeks now, probably. But if I want to be honest, probably by the time this video comes out, I would say 1 to 2 weeks from that date.
On December 2nd, you also leaked what looked to be a roulette game mode, similar to the roulette game mode on sites such as Roulette. Is this going to also be a game mode against the house, and how will it work? You can't exactly give them 2x in limiteds, so would it be with crypto or an on-site balance?
Yeah, again, as I said before, this is going to be a house game mode, so it's going to be player versus house. If you're familiar with how Roulette works, or CSGO Empire, any roulette like that, it'll pretty much be the exact same thing. You can bet on either coin to get a double your money, or you can bet on the blue diamond one, which I've shown, and that's 14x, whatever your credits. And then with those credits that you have, you can either withdraw them directly for cash, which is Bitcoin, or you can withdraw limiteds that are for sale. So it's like 2 options of how you want to get your cash out.
Is there any other future plans that you're able to share with us?
Honestly, not really. I'm pretty public because I hype myself up about all the updates. I'm pretty excited to share, so I don't have anything secret planned for Flip or anything I'm not saying, honestly.